Sometimes a place holds a secret. In the quiet grounds of a church in Sri Lanka, there was a deep well, and it held a secret that was incredibly dark. It guarded a forgotten tragedy that once had an entire nation on the edge of its seat. A story that, honestly, still leaves us with some really unsettling questions.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? How does a place of peace, a place you'd think of as completely safe, become the center of an unthinkable crime? It's a violation that just makes everything that happened next feel so much worse.
So let's go back. The year is 1966. We're in the coastal town of Mount Lavinia, Sri Lanka. And for this community, its peaceful, everyday life was about to be completely shattered.
It all started on February 9th, 1966. For everyone in Mount Lavinia, it probably felt like just another ordinary day. But before that day was over, a truly grim discovery would change their town forever.
A body was found at the bottom of a deep well on church grounds. Right away, this triggered a massive homicide investigation. The circumstances were not only tragic, but just deeply, deeply suspicious. It didn't take long to put a name to this awful tragedy. The victim was a young boy, Ramdas Gotabhaya Kirambakanda. And this is where the story just becomes absolutely heartbreaking. Gotabhaya was only 11 years old, just a kid, an entire life just gone.
So, with a young boy's life cut so brutally short, you can imagine the pressure the police were under. They had to figure out what happened in his final moments, and who could possibly do something so terrible, especially in a place of peace.
After a while, the investigation started to zero in on one person, a young woman by the name of Pauline de Croos. Now, she knew the victim's family, and some witnesses said they saw her with the boy right around the time he vanished. But here's the thing, and this is so important. The whole case against her, it was built on circumstantial evidence and what people said they saw. There was no hard forensic proof.
So, with a suspect in custody, the case went to trial. And it wasn't just any trial. It became a national obsession. By 1968, the trial of Pauline de Croos was more than just a legal case. It was a media spectacle that had the entire country completely captivated.
Inside that courtroom, you had two completely different stories at war with each other. The prosecution, they painted this chilling picture. They said Pauline lured the boy, gave him a sedative, and then threw him into the well. But the defense just kept hammering on one single point. Where is the proof? They fought hard for her innocence, pointing out again and again that there was zero forensic evidence connecting her to the crime. And this quote from back then really sums up why people couldn't look away. You've got this young woman as the defendant, this tragic child victim, and this whole tangled web of secrets and lies. It was like a real-life drama playing out for the whole nation to see.
After a long, emotional, and very public trial, the story was far from over. In fact, it was about to take another huge, dramatic turn, with the verdict and everything that came after. The jury came back with its decision, guilty. And based on the law at the time, that meant the judge had no other option. He sentenced Pauline de Croos to death. You can just imagine the shockwave that sent across Sri Lanka.
The debate was immediate and intense.
But her story didn't end on death row. Not by a long shot. After an appeal, her death sentence was changed to life in prison. And then, many years after that, she was actually released. After that, she just disappeared from the public eye. Her journey through the system was incredibly long and complicated.
Which brings us to today and the legacy of this case. It's still one of the most talked about, most debated mysteries in the history of Sri Lanka. A real well of secrets.
All these decades later, so many questions are still hanging in the air. Was circumstantial evidence really enough to sentence someone to death? What about those complex motives the prosecution hinted at but couldn't really prove? And what about her release? Did that mean justice was served, or did it just add another layer of uncertainty to the whole thing? It really feels like the full truth is still buried.
You know, this quote just captures it perfectly. The real answers, the true depths of what happened, they might be lost forever, just like the secrets at the bottom of that well.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The legal system did its job. A verdict was delivered, a sentence was served, and a release was eventually granted. But does any of that mean we actually found the truth? It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the line between justice and certainty can be tragically and permanently blurred.